At the end of each recording session, I'm going to give you a score. Okay, I wanted to start by introducing you to the 4 new members of my new family. Look at these little monsters. Adorable little things, but they have been causing me an absolute shitstorm the last couple of weeks. Certainly in the last few days, they've been getting crazy. No names yet. You can come up with some names for them. They're adorable. Okay, so this is episode 2 of my kind of new styled channel, the Sovereignty Lab. I was originally going to go with the name Performance Lab, but decided to change it because I wanted to really focus a lot more on not just my body and performance, but also about something that I really care deeply about, which is like individual sovereignty, which I think is really important in this day and age, and it's getting even more and more important. And over the next coming episodes, we're going to talk in depth about why I believe that and what sovereignty I think can do for you and your family, and why I think you should be moving towards that as fast as possible. Most of those ideas derived from my reading of the book, The Sovereign Individual, which I highly recommend. You can link down below, I'll put it in the description, but definitely check that out. Anyway, today's video, we are going to be talking a little bit about my weekly progress. We started last week in baseline, and we talked about my targets, what I was going to try and achieve, not just for my body and nutrition and eating, but also kind of like for my mind and the systems that I'm putting in place, and of course my kind of identity and brand, and all those kind of things we're going to discuss and go over the coming weeks as I try to navigate the difficult minefield of 2025, 2026. And the world is changing fast, certainly with AI, first the rise of the internet and now the rise of AI. This week, we're going to look at the stats I've put in from week 1, which I recorded a few days ago. And we're going to talk about some of the supplement stack I've got. You can see that in the video just here. I'm going to go more in depth on that on the next video, the specific ones. You'll see in this video the ones I'm taking. Let's have a quick look at that. That's my whole stack over here. It's very noisy, music on, but this is my whole stack. I'm going to do a whole video on it. Maybe the next one or the one after. Just creatine, protein stuff, some macaroon, which is quite good, multivitamins, various other D3 vitamins, ZMA, which has got the magnesium, good for sleep. Sometimes makes my stomach upset though in the mornings, but that's okay. Right now we're just going to do some pre-workout drink. Come right in, come in. You've got to get creative with the angles. Be sure that. Okay, zoom out. I don't always. Oh shit! And then I don't always use this because actually I think it affects my sleep. But it does blow your head off if you want to do like a hard workout. It's got quite a bit of caffeine in it. It's not one of the high caffeine ones, and it's definitely got very low calories. So it's pretty good for that if you're counting your calories. But like I said, if you're using it all the time, you'll build up tolerance to it, and it won't be so effective. But to be honest, this week I think I've used it 3 times. A lot. Tasty. Come have a look at my fridge and see what I've got. Okay, so yes, okay to drink this, sparkling water, it's good. Yakult, it's nice. This cannot drink, this stuff. It says it's healthy, 100 milligram vitamin C, but it's 150 calories, that one drink. It's crazy. And then this stuff, you don't want to be going anywhere near this. This is not for me. This is for everyone else that's in my house that likes sugary drinks. You drink that stuff, it's game over. Always like a couple of berries. Good for you. And then, of course, you saw the Red Bull. I have one of those a week when I'm feeling down. Not feeling down, but when I just feel like I want some kind of drink, they're quite good. And then this alcohol is not for me. This is the girls in the house. They like Bacardi and white wine. I'm trying to get doing calorie counting. So I'm using this app called Calorie Count. You can see it here, it's like this, you see? Right, and it's quite good. I just literally take a photo of each thing I eat and I put it in. What I'm trying to do really is I just take a photo and then do it at the end of the day. So instead of manually going through each time on everything I'm eating, I'm just making sure I take a photo because it's a bit annoying remembering. And then at the end of the day, I'll basically log it. Although maybe that's not the best way to do it. Let's see. So far I'm doing okay. So the last week or so I've logged everything I've eaten. Sometimes I think, I've forgotten a drink or a protein shake or something. You can always go back to that day and then add it in. So yeah, doing that. Okay, so the reasons I take those supplements and I'm focusing a lot on food at the moment is your body is obviously a direct result of what you put into it. And I never really appreciated that up until a few years ago when I started taking this a little bit more seriously, and certainly in the last couple of years when I've really dialed in on it. And since I've got the opportunity to access these, I've got the money to be able to afford it and the time to be able to get these organized for me, I make sure that I'm taking those every day. There's no excuses for me. If I break those full stacks down next week, I'll tell you exactly which one kind of does for me and why I take those. Obviously, the most important one for me is the creatine, which actually I tried when I was around 20, and my mum threw it in the bin. She said, "Oh, you're not taking these steroids." She thought they were kind of steroid stuff. But over the last 20 years, they've done lots and lots of research on creatine. It really is a very important substance for you to I'm not sure if that's the right word, but a very important supplement for you to take. And highly recommend to most people, certainly for your training and definitely for just kind of like performance when you're working as well. Right, the gym, first thing is I'll turn the music down a bit. We've got Sonos up there. Can add them back later. Right, let's have a quick look at the gym. So I've got you might have to stand over there so you don't get all the overexposure. So first up we have obviously all the erg stuff, which is really good for high rocks. Everyone likes to overuse that word now, but it's pretty cool, the event, and I will do one eventually. I have the ski erg, the bike erg. These are the Concept 2s, the best ones I think. We've got a rower down here, which is behind the jump boxes. These jump boxes are meant to stack on top of one another, so you make them really high. But unfortunately, my gym, it's not high enough, so I can't actually use it when it's this high. So I'm only using this or this one. Then on the back wall, we have this unit from USA. It's the torque unit. So it's got the cables, all the pull-up stuff. We have the dip bar over here. Then I got a load of, really made sure I got these kettlebells because I'm loving the kettlebell complex stuff at the moment. And then dumbbells all the way from 2.5 kg up to 40 kg. We have a lot of slam balls as well, but I'm going to add in, I really like the 50, 60 kg slam balls for the ground to overhead, which I want to do. I got a Smith machine, a load of plates, and then of course the rack. I like to do my squats and all the deadlifts here. I've got a nice pull-up bit on there. So it's really simple. I invested a lot of money in like a 50 mil thick rubber flooring, so it's really solid and really nice to work out on. Going to get a session in here today, so yeah.
Feel the heartbeat and the moonlight, drowns out the mad light, ignite. Karibuni wote. Yeah, women feel this fire. Karibuni wote, come and feel this fire. Nyamboma, ikadija she take you higher. Lift it, take you higher. Dance now, meet me. Praise the drum is desire.
first part of the day right away. You remember in the first video, I put together this sheet and we put all the metrics that I really wanted to track. I forgot to add weight in, so I've added that one in. I managed to get myself a set of scales. Now these scales are $40, $50 digital scales. I wouldn't say they're super accurate. And in fact, when you're reading the body fat, it says I've got a 22% body fat and a BMI of something like 27 and my body age is 49. So to be honest, I'm completely ignoring those. But what I am going to do is use it as a baseline. So as I improve my body fat percentage and get fitter and hopefully more lean, that number should go down. But I don't think it's an accurate number. I think my body fat's more like 16% maybe. So maybe I'll go to a proper place and get it measured later on. But for now, it's kind of a good baseline. I weighed in at 98.6 kilos, which is good. That's 2 kilos off actually when I started. Managed to get an average sleep of 6 hours, disrupted a lot by actually starting this YouTube channel and working late and thinking about it. I just couldn't turn off before 10 o'clock, which I need a full 2 hours for me to sleep properly. And then on top of that, I had these crazy kittens, which have been jumping around all over my bedroom. I'm not allowed them outside of the room yet because they're just not quite ready to go outside. There's too many dangers, like my swimming pool, which they'll just fall in and obviously will be in trouble. Then my resting heart rate, very good, 54. I've got a good resting heart rate. In fact, when I sleep, I think it goes down to like 40. I'm not sure if that's good, but that's something to say with my dad. We both have very low heart rate, certainly when we sleep. My active energy, tracking each week. Last few days of last week, I was resting, so I only managed to do about an average of 874 active calories a day, which is still pretty high. As I said, one yoga session. I have started recording my the number of protein that I'm eating each day, but I'm finding it difficult to really stay on top and track everything. But that's definitely improved. Next week, hopefully, I'll have a proper number to put in that. The same with the calories. Junk food didn't complete on. I did eat a few packs of crisps and had a couple of cookies. Just couldn't help myself. Going to improve that again this week. And at the time of shooting this video, I've managed to do 2 days without that. So that is good. I did do the fast, and the fast was just incredible. It was really difficult to get through, but I was actually looking forward to it the whole week. It was really strange. And the feeling of satisfaction I had after making it through that entire Sunday. So I start on Saturday at 5 p.m. That's my last meal. Don't eat in the evening. And then the whole of Sunday, I'm only drinking water with some salt in it, some black coffee, and then maybe like a chamomile tea or something in the evening. It was difficult. And I almost broke around 11, 12 p.m. on the Sunday. And I was lying on the sofa dreaming of scrambled eggs on toast. But I did make it. And on the Monday morning, I felt amazing. So I managed a full 40 hours, which is brilliant. My social media stuff, I've installed this app. I can't remember what it's called. Let me tell you exactly what it's called. But it is called, Opal. And this Opal app, I basically block all my social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, any of that crap is blocked from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. every day. And you can bypass it, but it's quite difficult. It end up really working. So interesting to see how that kind of screen time and social media use is going to drop over the coming weeks. The focus hours per day, I found it hard to really calculate that. So that stuff might not be included. The book read I started reading a book called The Network Society. And I'm going to talk about that in this video and the kind of like the takeaways from that so far. I've not finished the book, but the takeaways I've had from it so far. Of course, episode, which is the most important thing, to try and get one of these out a week, I've managed to do. So from those stats, that's great. It's a good start. Sovereignty Lab, metrics tracker, good start. Okay, so back to why sovereignty matters. Ever since I sold my business in 2012, I guess I became sovereign then because I'd made money. I moved a lot of it into Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I kept too much of it in property, but I did move a lot of it into Bitcoin around 2017, 18. And I moved out to China and I kind of detached myself from my home nation state. And although I didn't know what it was then, I kind of already started. So I set up various businesses in different places. I had a BVI company, I had a Hong Kong company, and then last few years I had a Dubai company. And that's managed to detach me from any single place. And sovereignty, certainly as an individual, is now so important these days because a lot of these nation states, in particular UK, are basically becoming desperate and they want to milk the last cow. That's you, with all the taxes they can before you basically run off to somewhere like Dubai, where Dubai, they really value you as a commodity. They want to attract high value individuals. And those that are free from their nation state, i.e. the money is outside of these places, they're able to earn money online, you're able to pick and choose where you want to live. And this gives you like a really modern, free life. I can just pick up and go anywhere I want. Obviously that changes when you've got a family. And that's something that I'm definitely going to have to consider over the next few years as I plan to start my family soon, hopefully with the right girl. And that's going to make a big difference, sure. But I want to instill these ideas into my children too. The idea that you don't have to be tied to one certain place. You can be an international person. You can do business all over the place. Just gives you a lot of freedom and capacity to just move when you need. One thing I don't have is different passports, and that's something that I definitely want to look into. There's quite a few great YouTubers out there. There's the Nomad Capitalist. I think he's kind of like the original guy. He's got so many followers, doing a lot of stuff. I watched a lot of his videos. A new one recently I started following called The Millionaire Migrant, and he's got some good content on there. And they talk a lot about these ideas, being sovereign and having multiple passports and citizenships, being able to move wherever you need. My mum calls me a gypsy for it, but we call it the sovereign individual. So what about this the book, Network Society? A couple of things I took away from it. The idea is that when networks become the primary unit of social, economic, and political organization, the winners are the people that control the nodes, right? Not the assets. And over the next decade, that is going to be ever more prominent. So a lot of the businesses that I'm trying to get involved in, or I'm trying to do, are basically those nodes. And those kind of things are things like, number one is power, access to power. And that power is definitely the bottleneck. It's not necessarily compute, like the production of AI chips, but actually the access to power. And I've always believed this idea of trying to reduce our carbon footprint, although it's good for the environment, how you say, is kind of pointless. What we really need to do is move towards using as much energy as we possibly can so we can become a type 1 civilization. We're currently like around type 0.5, I think. Type 1 is where you can enable to harness the power of the sun. So you basically have unlimited energy, and energy becomes free. Right now, we are way off that, but that's something that's really important. But one thing that's really prominent is, and I believe heavily in, is over the next 10, 20 years, as this network society scales, there's definitely going to be a lot of scaling of inequality. You're either going to be the have or the haves not, and you're seeing that a lot in societies like the UK, where there is like not that much growth of the lower class, but that the people at the top are really acquiring more and more and more because they have a lot of their money and assets, and as inflation goes up, their assets grow. But if you're just earning money, you're not able to keep up with inflation. What also is going to happen, as boundaries move from geography to ideology and lifestyle digital ecosystems, this drives new consumer behavior and new blocks, and basically people form into this kind of, it's almost like become tribal. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie Elysium, where Matt Damon, he's living on the earth and he's very poor and sick, and the only way to save his life is to get up into the spaceship where all the rich people live, where out there have all of this great technology to save your life. And it's a very dystopian movie, but I believe something like that's coming. So for me, I don't think the right strategy is to try and fight that and stop it from happening, because I think, like human nature, it's inevitable. I think it's important to be on Elysium. And to do that, you need to make as much wealth as you can for you and your family, and not just give your children wealth, but also give them ideas and ideology on how to behave, how for them to be able to proceed. Because if you just give money to your children, they waste it. They don't understand the value of it. They've never earned it. Whereas if you give them an idea, an ideology and a vision, that's something that goes through your family, you're able to start that kind of, you're able to start your dynasty. And one of the things that also aligns with what I want to do with my fitness stuff is fitness and offline things are going to be very important because people are going to start to value human connection above all the kind of AI stuff that's going on. For sure, if you're calling on your bank or you're calling like a support engineer, actually people will kind of want to talk to AI because they'll be more efficient than humans. But for the human connection, for friendship and for, for love, you're going to really value true human connection. And there's going to have to be some way to differentiate that from the AI because AI is going to become indistinguishable from real life. You just won't be able to tell the difference between the two. Okay, so my weekly systems and how I'm putting this together, my systems and part of this channel, the Sovereignty Lab, which is body, systems, identity. The systems I've started to put together is how do I allocate my time to make sure that I'm optimizing everything in the best way that I can. And I put together this weekly calendar, which I try to adhere to as much as I can this week. And you can see from here, I'm getting up early, 7:30 a.m., recording the metrics on a Monday, and then every day without fail, I'm getting the ice bath at 8 o'clock, 8:30, doing a 1 to 2 minute ice bath, and then I do a very quick swim, just a 5-minute swim, just to get myself alive, get some sun, and that's how I start my day. And then throughout the day, the Monday's most of the kickoff meetings, all the different businesses that I'm involved in, and then I have these blocks of deep work where I'm just focused on the targets I've got to get done for that week. And those targets I've normally set up on my agenda session, which I do on a Sunday evening way before 10 p.m. because I need to turn my brain off before I sleep. But around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I work out what have I got to do for this week. I put together. You'll notice I've also got my gym, which is like a fixed thing. That's the first thing that goes in my diary every week. Gym is non-negotiable because without my body being healthy and without longevity, what's the point? I've got to have my health. I've got to be performing to the highest of my ability. And also I want to inspire the people around me. And I don't think people listen to a man if he's not able to have discipline for his own body and what he puts into it and all the hard work he puts into keeping fit. I think if you're a fit, well-established person, people really respect you, especially if you're able to make money and be fit. And the first thing I do is put my gym in my diary. And then the evening times, I've got this thing called connections, which I'm trying to use as time to connect with my girlfriend or my friends and just spend time on what we talked about earlier, the human connection. And since I stopped drinking, my social life definitely diminished significantly, and that's been going for 5 years. You've got to imagine I've come from being a DJ in China where I was out 4 or 5 nights a week and I knew thousands of people. I could never remember anyone else's names, but I was constantly interacting with people. And after leaving Shanghai, going through COVID and then stopping drinking, just don't go out anymore. And I do struggle sometimes missing that kind of interaction with people. So yeah, that's my daily week that I've been planning. And I'm continuing over the 10 weeks to track these numbers and try and dial in on the diet, the nutrition, the fitness. I'm going to be checking obviously my weight and seeing how fit can I get at 43? How dialed in? Can I lose this last bit of body fat? Can I get a proper 6-pack? Does that help me with my business? I think so. I think it will. So last week was setting the baseline. This week we started recording all the stats. I've put my architecture in place. And yeah, hopefully it's going to work. Bitcoin obviously causing a bit of problem, but actually I'm lucky because I'm mostly out of Bitcoin. I keep one because I'm always like a one Bitcoiner. But we are now, I think, officially into the start of the Bitcoin winter, and it's going to be a long one. So 2 years if you buy Bitcoin, don't expect it to go up very much over the next couple of years, in my opinion. Buy again in a couple of years' time. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week in episode 3.